Good evening, everyone. We'd be able to begin the December 9th, 2014 board meeting for Community Board 9. I have a statement which I'd like to read. We had an incident this morning. This is a statement from the mayor's office on an incident that happened this morning. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Levi Rosenblatt and the entire Chabad Lubavitch community in the aftermath of this disturbing attack. New York City stands with the Crown Heights community, and under the leadership of New York City Police Department, we are monitoring this case very closely and conducting a thorough investigation. Commissioner Bratton has also ordered the NYPD to increase security at Jewish religious institutions across the city as a precaution while the investigation is underway. I look forward to visiting the community in the coming days to hear concerns and reassure people of the city's commitment to all of our safety and security. This incident also highlights the urgent need for increased services for emotionally disturbed or troubled people. Preliminary reports suggest the assailant in this case suffered from mental health issues. We as a society must do more for those who struggle with these challenges, and it is why the city has launched a new plan to improve access to mental health care and treatment for those in need. Finally, we commend the police officers who answered the call to this incident. They responded quickly to a tense and dangerous situation, and while any loss of life is tragic, we are fortunate that, thanks to the actions of our officers early this morning, more people were not injured or worse. The job of our brave men and women performed on a daily basis to protect the people of New York City is often perilous and difficult, and we thank them for their service. I would like to observe a moment of silence, if we could now, for the 3 families affected in this tragic affair this morning. Thank you, everyone. Our prayers go out to all the families connected to this incident. Next, we're going to begin. Dr. David Stevens is here. He's the Chief of Ambulatory Care at Kings County Hospital Center. We'll speak about food viruses and who should get shots and proper health care.
The chairman asked if I had any slides, and I said this time of night I prefer to leave the lights on when I'm speaking, otherwise I don't know who's awake. There is a handout though that I wanted to make sure people got, because there's some updated information just in the past week about the degree to which the flu shot actually is protecting against the current strain of viruses. So I can talk to the handout, but I also want to know what questions people specifically have. So at any point, just go ahead and interrupt me, because I imagine a lot of the stuff you've heard already. But as the information evolves over this flu season, I thought you might have questions. How do you usually do questions? Okay. Any questions? I'll just jump in then. So, you know, we're into the flu season. There have, and it's rising quickly. This past week, we had double the number of hospital admissions from the previous week. So we're in the point of the flu season where it's starting to increase rapidly, and it picks up speed quickly because for each person it spreads to more people and spreads to more people. So there already has been one fatality from the flu this year, a 65-year-old man who had not been vaccinated. What do we know about the vaccine? So every year the vaccine is usually either 3 or 4 strains. One of the strains turns out to be the strain that we're seeing, H3N2. Unfortunately, as the news has been breaking from the CDC as well as from all the news outlets, the dominant strain of H3N2 has some variation from the strain that's in the vaccine, which means that the vaccination is less protective than it would be had it been a perfect fit. So we're seeing about a 50% effectiveness against that vaccine. And so people have asked me, why would you want to get a vaccine? It's only 50% effective. And I think if you've got a lottery ticket that had a 50% likelihood of winning, you'd be happy to get that. The vaccine has been safe. I've seen personally no adverse effects this year or last year. I got it. My family has gotten it. My patients have gotten it. So it seems to be pretty safe. How effective it'll be will remain to be seen. Again, it's not 50% effective against the flu that's going around now, but we're early in the season, and it's not unlikely that later in the season, January, February, a second strain of flu comes around. And so, even if you're not protected against the current one, we may be protected against the next strain that's coming around. Other questions? Yeah.
I've heard that the particular flu of this year has yet to have discovered an antidote in the area of a flu shot.
Right.
Is that true or not?
So you're 50% true. So there are numerous strains of flu out there. H1N1 was the big one from the pandemic a few years ago. There's type B, and there's many strains of type A. One of the strains, H3N2, is the predominant strain going around now. In the vaccine that's been given this year, that actually is one of the strains. But the flu vaccine, especially type A flu, the flu virus mutates very quickly. It's like a fingerprint, and one small change in that fingerprint makes the vaccine less effective. Because we did get the right strain, just a slight variant, it's 50% effective against the vaccine, against the virus that's out. Which means if you get the vaccine and you get that particular virus, it's highly likely it'll still help you. It just won't help you as much. And most people who get the vaccine, it doesn't eliminate the flu. It just reduces the severity. That's what most people see. Instead of getting 2 weeks of illness, you get 2 days. So that's the answer. It's not a perfect fit. If we knew about the specific strain 6 months ago, it could have been put into the vaccine. But it's at least 6 months for the manufacturers to be able to produce it in the quantity needed. Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Okay. The flu is always a moving target. Every year the scientists predict what are the right strains, what are the right substrains to put into the vaccine. Sometimes they nail it, sometimes they miss it. This year it looked like, it was close, but not perfect. Other questions? Any questions from the board? Yeah.
For young children, age 4,
Yeah.
they have a runny nose or a little cough. Do they get that shot then?
Great question. So you can get getting the vaccine doesn't affect your immunity. It doesn't affect your ability to fight off another infection. But if you're sick, like with a fever, a strep throat with a high fever, and you get the vaccine is less likely to work on you because your body's kind of busy fighting off another infection. If all you've got is a runny nose or common cold, but no fever, by all means, whether you're 3 years old, whether you're 70 years old, you should get the vaccine.
All right, a lot of full-grown people, let's say, I've tried to get them to take the flu shot, and they said they took it once and they became deathly sick, and they have never taken it again. What was that?
Yeah, I hear that a lot. So, is it bad luck? First of all, the vaccine doesn't protect against every strain of flu, so you may still get the flu.
Or they were sick before they got the shot.
Or they were sick. I know a lot of my patients say, 2 days after I came to the clinic, I got sick and I got the shot. Well, maybe you got sick in the clinic, so what can you do to protect yourself besides getting the vaccine? Wash your hands. It's the single most important thing you can do to prevent catching the flu, giving the flu. If you're sneezing, sneeze into your elbow. All the kids know that, but the grown-ups don't all know that. And if you know somebody's sick and you're pregnant, you've got other illnesses, stay away. But the way the vaccine works, the way all vaccines work, is you get a tiny bit of an inactivated form of the virus. The inactivated form doesn't spread, doesn't grow, doesn't replicate, it doesn't cause disease. It's just enough of the vaccine for your body's immune system to see it, recognize it, build up an immune response to it, so that when the real thing comes along, your body's ready to attack it. But it's not a virus that can cause illness. It can cause a low-grade fever. It can certainly, a shock can make your arm burn, but it doesn't cause the flu. Other questions? Yeah.
Is there a booster shot that's necessary for children?
A booster shot for the flu? Within a given year, no. But there is a bit of a booster effect that say there's a vaccine against H1N1 and you got it 3 years ago. And the current vaccine actually has H1N1 in it as well. If you had it 3 years ago and you get it again this year, your protection is so much better than it was just having it 3 years ago. So you do need to get it every year, even if it's the same strains. But within a given year, we don't revaccinate. Cut me off when you need to. But if there are other questions, I'll keep answering them.
Thank you.
Steph? So I had a question. What ages? Ages 3 and up. And every age in between. The older you are and the younger you are, the more likely you are to benefit. But if you're in the ages in the middle, one of the most important reasons for a healthy 30-year-old to get a vaccine is that you probably know some people in your lives who are pregnant, who are infants, who are older, who have cancer, have diabetes. You don't want to take the flu home to them. So the more the people in your community are protected, the more that's going to help the sickest people in your community. That's, to me, the most compelling reason for a healthy person to get the vaccine, is to protect the older, sicker people in their community. That's an important question. So I put my email on the handout. It really is my email. If you have questions, feel free to email me. Who should not, so newborns should not get it. People who've had a known allergy to the vaccine, not just egg allergies. In the past, you say egg allergies. It turns out egg allergies is not a problem. But people who've had a known reaction to that vaccine, or have had a disease called Guillain-Barré, which is a very 1 in a million rare disease. But pretty much everybody else should get it. And sicker people, the more sick you are, pregnant women tolerate getting the flu very poorly. They get dehydrated, it puts the baby at risk. So, sicker people, pregnant women need it even more. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens from Kings County Hospital. Next order of new business is Mr. Quincy Jones, the artist and creator of the mural at Flatbush and Ocean Avenue, will give the history behind the creation of the mural and its recent restoration. Mr. Jones is bringing this matter to the community's attention to gather strong support and to emphasize the need to protect and maintain this mural for the enjoyment of the residents and visitors to the community for generations to come.
I can use this. First, I need to ask the elders' permission to speak my mind. Okay. Secondly, I want to thank the board. I'm not going to take up a lot of your time because I know you have other things to dispense with. So I'm going to just read from what I have, and you can either have questions for it or whatever at the end. Back in 1998, I came back from the Midwest after doing some murals out there, and I met Richard Green from the Crown Heights Youth Collective, and after we talked and discovered that we were both Marines, gave me an assignment. At the time, back in 1998, the wall on the corner of Flatbush and Ocean was 120 feet of blight, and he asked me if I could take care of it and do a nice mural. Since then, I've been keeping up the integrity of that wall, restoring it and repairing it and keeping it, nice. In the years that I've been working on this mural, I haven't met or talked to or worked with anybody from any of the associations in this neighborhood. I've met people from all over the world. I've taken pictures with them. The community loves the mural. The people who come from other places to visit, they love the mural. But in my funding efforts, I have not spoken with anyone from any association other than Mr. Ben Edwards. He's been a staunch supporter since day one. So I'm here before you asking what is the problem with the mural and why I don't get the support, the promotion, the referrals, the help that I need to keep this mural intact. Right now, the mural is 85% finished. It's taken us 3 years to get it done. I've included college students, people from the neighborhood, people from the DA's alternative sentencing program. So in all, I've used over 35 people as a community building effort to put this mural together and finish this mural. Right now, it needs a protective coat. It needs 2 coats, actually. It needs an isolation coat, and it needs a UV sealing. Problem is, I've always had to struggle with the funding to do this, which I don't understand, because if the neighborhood enjoys this mural, the neighborhood benefits from this mural, it should be something that we all take a part in. So it's 2,400 square feet. I don't have the money to cover this mural come the spring, so I'm trying to find out what do I need to do or what I didn't do to get you all involved. Now, I'm not talking to the community, I'm actually speaking to NAMA and PLG, because if you all are the entities that keep this community going, I don't understand why I've never met not one of you, not one member has come up to me, shaking my hand and said, hey, I'm so-and-so from so-and-so, I appreciate what you've done. So, I'll answer questions. Tell me what's wrong with the mural, what's wrong with me. It's one or the other. I just need to know. Questions? Yes.
Hey, I'm Tim Thomas. I've both supported your mural, and I've also written about it on my blog. And I would like, hi everybody. I would really like you to know how much we appreciate it. I think only now are people starting to realize that it's not paid for. Please.
I'm not questioning. I'm just going to let you know something. Go ahead.
The second I got the request for money, I gave.
I
think we can do a lot better. I am a fundraiser by trade.
Okay.
And I'm happy to work with you. I think most people in this room would love to see you get funded. I've never been asked by you, but I see that mural every day and I love it.
That's
so
my issue.
I will do everything I can. I bet a lot of people on this board will.
But see, that's my issue. I've had my information on the wall from day one. I've had funding information on the wall from day one. So it's not like it's...
But you have to ask. You have to get out in the community. I know, fundraising is tough.
I'm working. I'm out there every day painting.
I'm working too, and I'm telling you, I will put my time aside.
I appreciate
and I will
that.
help you.
So, I appreciate that, but I am talking to overall, what is the issue? Yes, sir.
First of all, good evening, it's Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.
Now, my questions are this, because, I'll share this. I'm ignorant of that as well, and I think a lot of people in the community take for granted that certain things are there, and someone's taking care of them. So I think this is the first step in letting us know that you've been taking care of it all this time. So the 2 questions I have are, 1, how much does it cost to actually do all this, and what is the cycle in terms of, do we have to maintain this every year, we have to redo this, or we have to touch it up? What's the plan for that?
Okay. It's 2,400 square feet. And like I said, there are 2 coats. One's an isolation coat, which protects the artwork. The other is a UV sealant, which protects the wall from UV rays and water damage. And getting back to you saying you're not aware of it, the wall is on the corner of Ocean and Flatbush, okay? It's in the center of Brooklyn. You cannot miss it. I was out there every day this summer. And for someone just to come up to me, shake my hand, and introduce themselves, that will let me know that you're aware of what's going on. And I can inform you what needs to be done. But if you go to the website, you go to the funding site, all that information's there. So, you know, I'm not confused because I have an inkling what it is, but we need to get past that. Okay, we need to get past that because there are two facts, you know. I did the mural and it's there. So, you know, I need to enlist the assistance of this community. Because the world looks at this mural, and I had an incident where I was talking to someone, and there were some people I was talking to from France. And a guy that walks by and speaks to me every day, he said to me, he said, "You mean to tell me the city, PLG, and the community board's not involved?" I had no answer for them. So I'm here to find out what, you know, what we all can do to make this thing stay in place because the technology has changed. Now they have solvents that will make that mural last for 10, 20 years. And because of the lack of funds, I've had to restore it twice. But if you put the proper materials on it, it'll last 20 years.
So how much?
Okay, we're talking roughly $2,000.
What? Okay.
Okay.
And then,
Hello?
excuse me, and then annually?
Annually?
How often, what is involved, of course, as far as upkeep?
If we put the correct solvents on the wall, it will last for 20 years. I've had to restore it every 8 years, which because of the lack of funding, I've used inferior materials.
Okay.
But given the right materials, it'll last 20 years. Yes?
So moving forward, now that you've brought this to our attention, because I see it also too, but it never dawned on me, just like Fred said at the end, that you needed financial support. So could you, moving forward, create a proposal that demonstrates annual costs to maintain that and submit it to the board?
Okay. Yeah, but it's not annual.
But you, over a 12-month period, there are certain things you have to do, correct?
No.
No, he's
No.
saying he needs the 2,000.
What I'm saying is this, okay? I painted the mural in 1998.
Right,
I had to restore it in 2006.
correct.
I started restoring it back in 2012, but I decided as a teaching artist to include people as community, you know, project. So it's almost completely done. I just have some enhancements to do, things of that nature back in the spring. I need immediate funding in the spring because once I put the solvents on it, I shouldn't have to do anything to that mural again for the next 20 years. So, yes.
All right, so just to be clear as well, so now you're looking at starting work in the spring, I'm assuming you can't do it in the winter with all the
So
weather.
yes, the wall right now is curing and, you know, what'll happen is there'll be some spots that I may need to repair, but come the spring, yes, that's when you put the solvent on. So I'm starting now so that by the spring, I have everything I need in place.
Let's talk offline after that, and what happens is I can talk to you in terms of, we can put something together we can bring back to the.
I appreciate that.
Also, can you give the URL of the place you can give online? You're still accepting donations there, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what is that website? It's IOP or
It's GoFundMe.com/FIR718. Yes.
Could you repeat that, please?
GoFundMe.com/FIR718. GoFundMe. Any other questions?
So you're formally putting a request to Committee Board 9 to fund $2,000 to complete this effort, and you need it by the spring.
Yes.
That's the request, right?
What day? Well, depending upon the weather, I usually start working in April.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you submit that in writing to us, please?
When you say us, are you saying to the board? Yes, okay, absolutely.
Folks, you realize that Community Board 9 cannot necessarily fund that, but we have another way to be able to do that. We'll talk about that.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm soliciting the community, PLG, NAMA, all the associations in the neighborhood. I'm asking them to help me promote this, help me get the funding, send out, information and do this collectively. Because I've done it all summer, basically by myself. With my receipts, I've broken even. The funding has been sparse, but I can't as an artist, I just can't let it, sit like that because I started it. So I have to keep it up. Okay? Yes, question?
I'm sorry, can you say FIR 718?
No. FIR 718.
It's coming up as sort of just campaign.
No, the number 18. No, not the word, okay, let me say it again. FIR 7. The number 7, right, 18. No, wait. Let me correct it. I'm sorry, I misquoted it. It's 7 FIR, the number 18.
Okay, good.
So it's the number 7. Let me make sure. All right.
The other one did not exist.
Did you find it?
I'm trying to find it.
All right, so try this because I think I may have misquoted. Try 7IR18. The number 7IR18.
Can I tell you what it is? It's F,
Thank
7
you.
to the number, IR18. F as in
Thank you.
Frank, 7, the number,
Right,
IR18.
something like that. Any other questions, comments?
Your mural is beautiful, I hope you find that one.
Thank you.
Okay, once more, it's GoFundMe.com. F71IR18. Okay, does everybody have that? Mr. Jones, thank you very much for a beautiful presentation. Yes, you have a beautiful mural. Next order of new business is Miss Megan Ahern here, the organizing director for the NYPIRG, or New York Public Interest Research Group, to discuss financial literacy issues, including basic banking, credit cards, and cyber safety.
And I'm going to put on a stopwatch so I don't take up too much time. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me here and asking me to speak about some financial literacy issues. Again, my name is Megan. I work with NYPIRG. And we work on a whole bunch of campaigns, and consumer protection is one of them. I'm here today to give a primer on some credit issues, now that a lot of people are doing some spending for the holiday shopping season, and also how to safeguard yourself. There's a bright yellow handout which has some resources to take home with you, because there's a lot of issues going into credit, access to credit, and how to keep your credit score and credit reports clean, that I wouldn't be able to get into everything tonight. So. Credit cards, most people have them these days, and it's a big issue for all Americans, all people living in this country. The average U.S. household credit card debt stands at $15,608. It's a lot of money. That's for people that are holding debt right now. In total, American consumers owe $11.71 trillion in debt, and $881.8 billion of that is in credit. So obviously there's a lot of people using the plastic to pay for things, and I just want to give you guys some safe credit use tips today so we can stay out of debt as much as possible. When credit debt is large, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It means that consumer spending is up, that spurs the economy, that might produce jobs, but it might also mean that people are putting their daily expenses on their credit card because they're unable to pay for it with their income. So, it's a little bit of a give and take there. So we all know how a credit card works, right? You spend, you pay it back. If you don't pay back all of it, you have interest and fees that might accrue. Pay for an item on your credit card, adds to your balance. There's usually a maximum balance, and if you don't pay off that maximum, interest rates can kick in that means you're paying more for an item that was originally $10. You might end up paying $14 at the end of the day. So I'm going to go over some things to look out for. These are the take-home points from my presentation tonight. Number one thing to look out for is credit card interest rates. They vary dramatically from company to company and card to card. So look out for the APR, or the annual percentage rate. It's a measure of the cost of credit over the course of the year. The lower, the better. You also want to look for a fixed rate, which means that it's the same interest rate for the life of the credit card unless they send you a letter updating the terms that you have to agree to. A variable rate means that they can just change it whenever they want to, and that usually means they'll start with a low rate and then you'll get higher and higher interest rates. So if you're only paying your minimum balance on your credit card, you're racking up tons and tons of money just in interest. Or look out for teaser rates, which mean you only have one APR for the first 6 months or year, and then it goes to a different rate that's much higher. And also different interest rates for cash advances. Excuse me. The second thing to look out for is fees attached to credit cards. Fees can be things for annual fees that vary from $15 to $300. Just to own the piece of plastic in your wallet, you might get charged an annual fee. One of my credit cards introduced an annual fee 10 years after I had opened it, and I was able to debate that and get them to cut that out, but it was going from a 0 annual fee rate to about $70 a year. So if you do have a card that sends you a letter saying there's this new fee, it's an annual fee, call them and see if you can get that waived since you're an old customer. Get grandfathered in. Cash advance fees, late fees, inactivity fees, that's messed up, right? You're not using your card and they charge you a fee. They get lonely, they need to bill you something. So make sure if you're shopping around for credit cards, don't get one with inactivity fees if you can. Zero balance fees, another really weird one. You're not using the card, so they charge you for that fact. Reward redemption fees. So if you have a credit card that gives you miles, there's probably going to be a fee to access those. Sometimes that's just reducing the number of points you have. Paper statement fees. Now that everything's going digital, people should still have access to paper if they want it. Some companies now are charging you to get that service. And I'm sure they're going to be really creative now that there's online banking is increasing, so look out for any new digital fees that are going to be popping up. A really important thing to do is look at the disclosure of terms. So this is the really small print at the bottom of your credit card bill or at the back of an offer. It's really dense information, but it's really important to take a close look at. Under federal law, that disclosure has to be in every offer for a credit card, on all solicitations. So look out for things like universal default. That means if you have a Visa and a MasterCard and you default on your MasterCard, Visa can penalize you for that. So that's no good. And I just use those as, basic examples, not saying that those two do that. Bait and switch offers. So you get this really great offer in the mail and they say, terms to be confirmed when you apply, and then when you actually apply, they give you a whole new set of terms. That's very popular little scam there. Two-cycle billing. So they charge your interest by 2 months, so even if you paid off an outstanding fee, they'll still charge you interest for the second month. Mandatory arbitration. This is because of the lack of competition in credit card companies, this is something that shows up on nearly every credit card offer, and it's pretty much taking people's rights to sue away, which is problematic for a number of reasons. We should have access to the courts when we need it. And secondly, credit card companies who get a lot of complaints against them can create relationships with arbitrators that see a lot of their cases, so there becomes sort of this unspoken conflict of interest. So look out for that one, and of course, very high fees. Just a few tips to build a good credit history. Good credit histories can help you get loans, buy houses, buy cars. Good credit histories can also affect your ability to get a job. Employers now are looking at credit histories to determine hiring and firing. So about 50% of employers are doing it now, which of course, your credit doesn't necessarily mean you can't be a good employee. So it's sort of a catch-22 there. You can't get a job to pay off your credit. You can't pay off your credit because you can't get a job. So don't charge what you don't think you'll be able to afford with within the billing cycle. Set up a monthly spending limit. Shop around for the best credit card terms and looking at those disclosure terms. Try to save money each payday for emergencies. I know for me and a lot of people that can be hard, but really try to prioritize that. If you charge day-to-day expenses, really try to pay them off at the end of the month, which I mentioned. Keep credit card information, including the phone number of the issue, in a safe place so that you can easily cancel it if you drop your wallet in the subway or on the street or it gets stolen. Keep copies of sales slips and compare charges when the statement arrives. I know that's a little onerous, have a shoebox full of your receipts, but it's a good practice. At least look at your statements in detail so that if there's any weird charges, you can debate those with your credit card company. If debt is becoming a problem, don't ignore it. Open that scary mail. There's a lot of things you can do if you contact the credit card company to ask for freezes on interest payments or lower payments. If you are active in pursuing a solution to debt, a lot of times there'll be some leniency from the credit card companies before, so that you can keep it out of collections. And then be careful about balance transfers to new cards. Sometimes that can seem like a good solution. You open a 0 annual percentage rate card for a year, but sometimes that balance APR only, it doesn't account for new charges. So one half of your card is at 0% APR, and all your new charges to the card are at like 30% APR, which is really high interest rate. So those are some tips on building a good credit history. And I just want to go for a few minutes into fraud, about keeping ourselves safe, especially now on the online world. So spending smartly is only half of it. Looking out for identity theft is incredibly important. The Federal Trade Commission's top 10 frauds lists identity theft as the top one, with American consumers losing over $1.6 billion to fraud last year. That's billion. And 290,000 were identity theft related. So things to do when you're, things to do to avoid this is don't believe promises of easy money. You know, any emails that you're getting from princes in abroad countries, those are not real. Do not open those. Or saying a friend is caught in jail and you need to send $2,000 bail money. Do not believe those. Those are phishing emails. Trust your gut. If it seems fishy, if there's spelling errors in the email, if it says dear customer instead of dear your name, those are things to look out for. Something like it looks like it's from your bank, logos and names are really easy to duplicate. So make sure that you contact the person you're dealing with directly. Guard your personal information. Don't give out any information like your, obviously your social security card number, or your address or phone number even. Those can lead to scam calls. To email solicitations. Don't give out personal information to those. Try to pay with the safest way possible, like a credit card or PayPal, which you can dispute the charges if something looks fishy. Checks or money orders or bank-to-bank wire transfers are harder to recover money from, and try to never mail cash or use Western Union type wire transfers. Visit retail banking sites directly, websites that is. Don't click on a link from a pop-up window, open a new tab and go to the website directly, and make sure it starts with an HTTPS and that there's a little lock sign in the bar of this search window. That means it's a secure site. And then use strong passwords. It's pretty commonplace nowadays. 8 or more characters, letters, numbers, and symbols, and a mix of them. Don't use personal information for passwords like your name or your family names, and use different passwords for different accounts. And lastly, change your passwords correctly, regularly. And last but not least, to wrap up my presentation, social networking is a whole new area where people are gathering personal information to use it against us. So don't post sensitive personally identifying information on your social media accounts. I've seen some people that have gotten their first credit card and they take a picture of it because they're excited. Then their credit card number and their name and their expiration date is all over the internet. So tell your friends, and if you're a first-time credit card buyer or have kids, let them know about that. Don't post your address, your phone number, your bank information, birth dates, things like that if you can. Think of it as a billboard that everyone can see. Be cautious about clicking links or opening attachments, and set your profiles to private. That way your friends can see it, those people in your network can see it, but not some con artist that you don't know in 3 states over. So I'll just wrap up by, again, saying that there's even more information about this and a list of safe shopping resources, a few reports that have listed safe toys and toys to look out for, dangerous toys to look out for during the holiday shopping season, and a number of links on here. So with that, if there's any questions, I'll take them. Otherwise,
Did you say don't use Western Union?
So if possible, it's hard to track where fraudulent wire transfers come from and where they go to. So Western Union is often the mechanism to pay fraudsters. It's a mechanism to pay a lot of people, but if it's a new person that you're unsure of and they're asking you to pay via Western Union or some similar wire transfer, that's a red flag. No problem.
Isn't it illegal for employers to check credit history to use that to determine employment?
It's not, but it should be, and there's actually a bill in the City Council that passed, is now in the Civil Rights Committee. It's the Stop Employment Discrimination and Employment Act. Brad Lander is the sponsor, the main sponsor. There's about 40 City Council sponsors of it, so it's got a lot of support, and it would ban the practice in New York City. And then we'd look to pass the bill statewide too.
Is there a new something coming out about your credit when you're withdrawing money from the bank, your password? That if someone robs you or sticks you up and tells you that you just do it backwards, is that true? You do the number backwards and you still get your money, but it'll be reported to the police?
Oh, I'm not sure. Not to reveal too many personal details, but my password is actually the same backward and forwards. So I don't think that is the thing, but I think there might be some anti-fraud devices that different ATMs use where it can signal something like that, like a help button. But that's a good idea.
Where do you go to actually get a free credit report?
Good question. Also, that's on the resource. It's www.annualcreditreport. I believe it's .com. Annualcreditreport.com. And that's run by the government. It's free to get one report, a report annually for free. Freecreditreport.com is not free. Interestingly enough. Annualcreditreport.com.
I understand the federal government has created a new agency called CFPB, Consumer Finance Protection Agency. Have you had experience? Do you think that's helpful if you have credit card issues, problems? Will they be very helpful in helping you maybe resolve a problem?
Yeah, they are a really great agency. Like you said, it's a federal agency and a federal bureau, and they were created out of the financial crash of 2008 that we are still recovering from. They are really helpful in connecting you with resources when you're finding a problem. They have a huge website that has a lot of how-tos. They can also track complaints and see if there's trends that they need to look into more closely.
Have you seen them to be useful in your experience? Since they're new, are they useful in your opinion?
Yes.
Okay.
What about Credit Karma?
Oh, I'm not familiar with that.
CreditKarma.com is free, but it only does one.
One report.
Yeah.
Okay. CreditKarma.com. One free report. Any other questions?
Should the agency that say if you pay them a fee that able to protect you from identity theft?
Like LifeLock?
Right.
Yeah.
How reliable, because they're extremely expensive, how reliable in your opinion are they?
I've heard good things about them. The thing is that they have access to the credit bureaus. So like Experian, TransUnion, the private companies that collect all of our credit information, LifeLock has a relationship with them. So when you report something to them, they're able to, shut down your accounts real fast and contact the credit bureaus and, fix whatever impact ID theft has had on your credit report. So, it should be an action that credit bureaus are doing on their own since they're profiting from our personal information. But, if you want to be extra cautious, a service like that does work.
Ma'am, American Express is now using military chip in their new cars. And that is the other companies are not doing it. It's an expensive situation. However, it is a very, very good way to do business simply because they can literally track your car through that chip. I just got a new one issued to me and I asked them to send me a new one because I found out about it. So if anybody has an American Express card, call them and ask them to send you a new one with the chip. It's the same chip that's in my military ID card, same type, and they can use it to track.
Yeah.
So if somebody rips you off, you call them, they will track that card and tell the police where you got it and where it's at.
Yeah, it's more.
It's a small thing, but it's very important.
That's great. It's better than the magnetic strip.
Oh,
It's more higher technology. I think there was a piece on 60 Minutes recently that I was.
That's where I picked it up.
Cool. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Also, my contact information is on that resource sheet, so if you think of a question later, feel free to email me or call me. Thanks again.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Thank you very much for a beautiful presentation and for coming out tonight. It's a very difficult evening. Thank you very much. That concludes our public session. Now we're moving on to the business session. I've all board members go. I said we're moving on to the business session. We're going to have a roll call.
There were people that called us, like you asked, agenda, that wanted to speak on the public session. We're not going to be allowed to speak. We call up, we state that that's the rule, we abide by the rule, and now we can't speak.
Here we go again.
Here we go again.
Board members, have you signed in?
Here we go again.
Please come up forward and sign in.
Here we go again. People called up to talk. We're not allowed to talk.
During process, I called and I put on the public session.
It's the law. It's the law. Meeting board 9.
I will read it. It may take me a minute.
Phone number, address, email.
Thank you. There's phone numbers, address, email said to talk. Are we allowed to talk or we're not going to be allowed to talk? Are we going to allow to be talk? I mean, this is a community board. I'm just going to get directions. Where's the section in the law? Where's the section in the law?
When I finished with the public session, I called, gave my name, email, phone number, address.
Have all board members signed in?
New York City Charter. meaning the
Ms.
board
Boyd, you
can
are out of
set
order.
aside time to hear from the public. I'm just making a statement. Bylaws of community board
Call the
9.
roll.
At each meeting, the board should set aside time to hear from the public.
Fred Baptiste.
Violating the law.
Simone Bennett,
Mr. Chairman, you took my name, number, phone number.
Warren
address,
Burke,
speak in the public session. On the agenda, I'm going to speak under the New York Information Public Relations. I want to speak on agenda item number 3.
Warren Burke,
Here, you took my name.
Augustine Blackwell,
My phone number, everything.
Joseph Cucubrio,
Item number 3. You took my name to speak.
Ben Edwards,
And I'm supposed to speak on the
Milton Ellis,
to public information.
Sheila Foster Golding,
On the young lady that just spoke, I want to speak.
Rabbi Jacob Goldstein,
Chairman, can I speak?
Rabbi Malcolm Gross,
Present.
Tessa Hackett Vera,
It's documented.
Sylvita Hamilton Gonzalez, Aaron Hirschkopf,
Why did you?
Laura Imperiali,
I want to speak on agenda item.
Demetrius Lawrence,
The process. And they were.
Abby Letchus,
They took my name.
Avi Letchus,
I wanted to speak.
Michael Liber,
Here.
Interest research. Item
Denise Mann,
on the agenda. The public is not being.
Denise Mann, Carmen Martinez, Musa Moore, Patricia Moses, Patricia Moses, Beverly Newsom, Frank Nicholas, Dwayne Nicholson,
I spoke to.
You all are out of order. We're going to continue with the roll call.
Rosemary Perry, here,
You need to.
Gerald President,
You took my name number.
Pia Raymond,
Said I could speak on agenda item.
Unella Roan Perry,
New York resident public interest. Research.
Diana Richardson,
I called to be an agenda.
Mary Rollison Blackett,
You can't just decide that that's.
Brenda Scott, Kenya Solis,
Yes, here.
Rabbi Joseph Spielman, Ada Terry, Timothy Thomas, Jacqueline Welch, Evelyn Williams. Stuart Valberg, please sign in.
Every meeting they don't let us speak. Every meeting they don't let the public speak. Every meeting. Every meeting they have a meeting to not let us speak. It's crazy. This is supposed to be a community board. This is supposed to be a community board, and we're the community, and we can't speak at our own board. Every meeting. You gotta call up, so you call up. You give your name, you give your name. You gotta give your address and your telephone number, and you still can't speak. You still can't see. This is our executive board, wanting to hear from the community. They don't want to hear from the community, they want to just tell us what it is they're going to do to our community. They don't want to hear our voices.
38 members present. We have a quorum. The minutes for the November meeting are not ready, so we're going to have to table
Never
that.
publish the minutes. Can I see the minutes, please?
Can I get a motion to table the November minutes? Okay, Stuart, Albert, made the motion. You second? Anyone second the motion?
Second.
Mike Blackbird, I heard.
Yes.
Ada Terry, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any noes?
we went one time and had a protest. We had 5 people wanting to speak, and they were like, no, I don't lie. They had a half an hour set for us. And I think this was really fast. That's crazy. Just violating the law. Just willingly, knowingly violating the law. So what we got to do? You call.
All right, I have a statement to read about the zoning resolution from Let me read a statement about our zoning resolution. As you may already be aware, there was a motion placed on the floor at our September 23rd Community Board meeting. This motion was to rescind the resolution adopted by Community Board 9 on March 25th, 2014. This resolution was a request to have New York City Planning do a feasibility study for the rezoning of the Community District 9. Due to the chaos in the meeting room that evening, and the flooding of the room with people who did not live in this district and did not come to this meeting willing to adhere to the agenda or even calls for order, we are placed at a disadvantage. The result was board members were marked as absent who were present when the roll call was called due to the noise level and a high level of disrespect for the process. The chanting over board member voices after numerous requests were made to be quiet prevented the executive team from properly hearing those voting. The confusion among new and old board members about what they were voting on due to the inability to hear over the raucous crowd, just like tonight, and the rush to push a motion through without the clarification prevented members from being allowed to be heard before a vote. All disorderly behavior, disrespectful behaviors, and loud outbursts allowed for the error. The vote miscount allowed the resolution to remain. The corrected vote, as has been discovered, indicates the resolution was rescinded. Community Board 9 members are active members of this community first, and hardworking volunteers who spend their time and effort on improving our community. There should have been any malicious or improper accusations made about the votes or proper vote count errors. Instead, I challenge you. Exercise respectful and business-appropriate behavior at our board meetings. Raise your hand and wait for acknowledgement from the board chairperson before asking a question or making a statement to the board. When quiet, order is requested in a board meeting. It means just that. We are all here to take care of the business of this community safely and effectively. In order to do that, we have to be able to hear each other. Many errors can be avoided and positive progress can be made when all attending a board meeting follow directives of the chairperson, agenda, and Robert's Rules of Order. Forward-thinking plans. I am aware that there are plans from board members and others to make motions from the floor for votes on a resolution. But it's in everyone's best interest that new members finally have the opportunity to be better informed on zoning issues before voting. There will be a zoning training workshop with our new board members and city planning to allow members to have a better understanding of how we arrived at our position today and their role as board members. There will be one ULURP meeting set up to rework this resolution prior to our next board meeting of January 28th. Please check the website for the location and time of this important meeting. Then we'll be voting this issue for the final time at this January 28th meeting. Expect all elected officials covering this area to be here to make remarks. Each group will be allowed remarks from 2 individuals only of no more than 3 minutes each. For any group caught with more than 2 speakers masquerading as others, that group's remarks will be permanently removed from the record. Then we will vote democratically and move forward with the work of this neighborhood. Community board members will determine the outcome. The community board members will determine the outcome. Board members will be reminded their votes are affecting the lives of 125,000 people, and your block is no more important than those living in other parts of this community. Your votes are permanent and public records because of how you vote. Malicious and ill-intended individuals have been soliciting the public about laws governing community boards. The open meetings law states that boards do not have to allow public speaking time, but it's generally a standard practice on agenda items. CB9 has never disallowed people to speak on agenda items. Community Board 9 will not allow people to speak repeatedly on the same item without it being an agenda item. Maybe I should read that again. Community Board 9 will not allow people to speak repeatedly on the same items without it being an agenda item. This is a board meeting, not a free-for-all where I can go and disrupt as I see fit. Others have said people can speak during the business session. No community board in New York City allows this to occur, neither will Community Board 9. The work of community boards goes through its committees, and so will the work of Community Board 9. No individual or group will be allowed to decide on their own to do the work of any committee. Committees are democracy at work, and that kind of individualism will not be tolerated. Any board member wishing to try this will be brought in front of the executive committee and the borough president with grounds for dismissal. Thank you for your thoughtful time and attention. Everybody enjoy a safe and festive holiday season.
Can I just want to add to that? I said that I would apologize to Kenya and to Ms. Berry for recording your votes incorrectly.
Wow. Not apologize to the community. Not to the community. Not to the community. Falsifying voting records right in front of us. Not to the community. Never publish it. Never publish it. No more talking about. No, you know. Meanwhile, everybody coming up with their own risk.
Good evening, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rabbi Jacob Goldstein. I was chairman of this board for 34 years. Let me say something to you now. You know, I've been listening to you. Can you be courteous enough to listen to me? Yeah, I'm talking to you.
You didn't give us an opportunity to talk.
We are talking about zoning. I want everybody here to understand how important this is. As we sit here and bicker and snicker and disrupt, and it goes on and on and on, a developer or developers can move on with what is at hand. They can assemble the land, they can buy the property, and one day you wake up and you find out that someone has the land rights and the air rights to put up huge buildings. You know why? You know why? Because we sat here and did nothing. And the way we can do this go forward is to deal with what we have at hand tonight. Not next week, not 2 weeks from now. We're going to talk about a resolution. It is very important that that begins the process to move this forward as expeditiously as possible. Because while we are sitting here and having a good time and screaming and shouting and cutting people off and now not allowing each other to be heard, the people that you would like to deal with on zoning issues are sitting back and watching and having a good time and assembling property and parcels of property. And then you wonder what the word as of right means. As of right is simple because they've now assembled a large tract of land, they have the square footage, and up goes the building. That's how 26 and 16 and 18-story buildings are built. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. District Manager's report.
Right. He's the one that pushed the old resolution and got us upzoned the entire community. Upzoning with inclusionary zoning and 25-story buildings. That was his resolution.
Good evening, everyone.
And Pearl's resolution.
I just want to take this opportunity.
Disrupting the meeting. We got
Is she gonna disrupt the entire meeting?
Go ahead, we don't need a car. Let's do the meeting.
Okay. I just wanted to take this opportunity to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, and all the other celebrations we do this month in lieu of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shabanian. We have committee reports next. We have the Economic Development Committee, Warren Burke.
I just have one thing. We're doing Hi. We had a great kickoff on the Shop Local program last weekend. We had the press conference. We had a lot of local officials attend. We had a lot of people from the neighborhood. We're having the actual days this Saturday and Sunday on 3 avenues, Flatbush, Nostrand, and Utica. We will need volunteers. We're having some good stuff, a lot of stuff for the kids. We'll be having balloon people, face painters, and I think we're having a trolley that will take shoppers to all 3 avenues. And this is all based on the sponsorship by PLS Financial and Carver Bank, and American Express kicked in some materials. So I know some of you spoke about volunteering. Just let me know after this meeting, because we'll be assigning the positions tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren. You can do the bylaws.
Okay. The temporary bylaw committee met. It was a difficult meeting, but we got through, I would say, about a third of the bylaws, the easy parts. So we're going to be pursuing that right now. We're just taking the suggestions that were made at the first meeting and integrating them into the existing bylaws. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren. Next is the Education Committee, Mr. Baptiste.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank the members of the Education Committee, Warren Burke, Diana Richardson, Ada Terry, Ms. Denise Mann, and Ms. Sheila Foster Golding. We had our committee meeting on Monday, November 24th. It was very productive. Just a couple of the items we actually covered. Co-locations are still definitely an item that we are dealing with in District 17, which is the school district that is covered by Community Board 9 along with Community Board 8. Recently there was some discussion in terms of a co-location possibility being done at MS 61. Proud to say the school itself mobilized, they got parents involved, they came, they spoke to our committee as well. They went before the panel for educational policy and they were officially removed from the table as a candidate for that co-located school. So we're very proud of them. Principal Burke is doing a lot of great work over at that school. A lot of our schools are doing a lot of great work, and we really push that we all support our children in all the schools throughout the district. Additionally, in terms of things that we're going to be looking out for as a committee, the charter school laws are going to be coming up. So what we want to do is actually start educating in terms of the community, in terms of what the issues are, what's at stake, how communication should flow, and to really get a sense in terms of where as a community we stand on it and possibly advocate for that as well, to come up with some kind of a resolution that we can put forward as a community board at some point. So there will be additional conversations with that. We invite the community to come and speak on that. We are going to be doing some additional outreach as well. We're going to be working with other community organizations that deal with education, including CEC 17, the President's Council for District 17 as well. We do have a new superintendent in the district. I've had the opportunity to talk to him. He's got a lot of great ideas for the district. What we're looking to do as a committee as well is to bring him in to speak to the committee, and hopefully at some point have him come in to introduce himself to the board as well and share his vision. In terms of some action items we have coming up, we have one of our members, Ms. Terry, I'm going to put you on the spot. we're actually just really thankful for all the work she's doing. She's been working on an educational calendar, something that will be a community resource in terms of things that are going on, deadlines that are approaching, and basically resources that parents and community members might want to know about the community schools. Additionally, we're working on trying to get a networking roundup with educators and between principals. We're trying to see if we can also get parent coordinators involved as well. We want to make sure that as a community board, we're well informed, we understand the issues in the school, so that way as we go through budget, as we go through the next rounds of budget recommendations, as well as just in terms of being able to advocate for a community board as to what our schools need. So we want to make sure we establish those relationships. That's all we have. Actually, I guess it wasn't listed as an action item. Mr. Chair, I'll defer to you. Do we need to get approval from the board to actually proceed with the calendar and with the networking forums, or can we do that as a committee? We have a calendar we're putting together, and we also have a networking forum we're trying to put together. Do we need permission from the board to do that, or we can just set that up this meeting? That's all I have on the report, though, for informational purposes. Yeah, that's my report for informational purposes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Baptiste. Let's approve the committee reports. On to the chairman's report. Demetrius? Brian McLaughlin is here tonight, representing Letitia James. Thank you very much. Dale DeGale was here representing Yvette Clark. I understand she had to leave. Oh gosh, I just heard some bad news. Ms. DeGale's mother just passed away. That's bad. I guess you can send condolences to the office of her family. You know her. Dale DeGale, representing Yvette Clark. Representing Eric Adams tonight is Jamal Pollard. Thank you very much, Mr. Pollard. I know he has some, there he is. How you doing? Representing Honorable Kenneth Thompson is Karen Crawford here. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Pierre Albert is here representing Kareem Kamara. Kevin Parker is Zuliman Blair. Our district leader is here tonight, Shirley Patterson. Oleniki Alabi also, and Jeffrey Davis is here. Thank you very much. Our council lady, Lori Kumpo, is here. Is she still here? Councilwoman?
You ready for me? Member, not man.
Judge Janine Edwards is here tonight too. Thank you very much for joining us. And Daphne Champagne is here from Kings County Hospital too. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. I see many people in the audience today that were out with us today at 770 Eastern Parkway today. And it has been really a truly emotional day. As the young man was stabbed in the temple, he is now at Bellevue Hospital. He's gone from, I believe, critical to stable condition. His mother is flying in from Israel to be with him. He has no family here. And at the same time, simultaneously, we're also very concerned about the man, 49-year-old African-American man who was the attacker, who suffered from a situation of bipolar illness. He is also a husband and also has 2 children. And so today is a very tragic day in terms of there were no wins today. And the community is certainly grieving and mourning over the fact that this has happened. And given the climate that has consumed our city as well as our nation, it has been very impactful. The city council has stepped up and made a lot of actions towards what's happening, but simultaneously, we're recognizing that legislation is really going to be our greatest tool in our tool belt to make sure that we change the dynamics that we have seen, as well as a culture change that is going to need to happen as well. And I thank all of you for all that you all have done during this challenging time, because while we recognize that the rallies and the protests and the marches are actually very exciting and invigorating, because it is inspiring young people to stand up and to talk about these issues and to be that voice that we have been missing. And so it's very important that they have stepped up in a very remarkable way. Wanted to bring to your attention a few items very quickly. Assemblyman Walter Mosley is really leading the path on this, called Informational Session on the New York State Education Department Proposal Multiple Pathways to Graduation, with an in-depth presentation by New York State Regent Lester Young. That's going to be Thursday, December 11th, 2014, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Shirley Chisholm State Office Building, 55 Hanson Place. And that flyer is here as well. Just want to let you know of our Housing Legal Clinic. That is going to be the second Thursday of the month at my office at 1 Hanson Place, 1 to 4 p.m. And this has everything to do if you have issues in terms of our legal clinic, in terms of legal issues with rent stabilization, overcharges, or rental apartment issues. And I also want to invite you to Let's Get Covered. This is going to be enrollment for health insurance via the New York State of Health Marketplace for 2015. It's from November 15th to February 15th. So please, all of this information is here in the back. Please use this time to get covered. This is a very important time right now. Utilize that opportunity to do so. And just wanted to let you know, also in the City Council, one of the bills that's up that's highly controversial, I would appreciate your input and discussion, is going to be the plastic bag bill. Many of you may have heard of it in an effort to reduce plastic bags, which are not biodegradable, which are impacting our community. Legislation has been put forth in terms of a 10-cent fee placed on plastic bags for individuals still using them. Some cities have just eliminated plastic bags altogether. Some have charged a 10-cent fee, some have not. There are a number of different ways that this is being discussed, and I would like your opinion and feedback, because it is going to be something that is going to be coming up for review in the City Council. And so those are the main issues. I just want to say on another note, with the discussions, there have been many presentations here today, it's very important for me as a City Council member to hear all of your voices, and I look forward to doing that moving forward. We have a very complicated situation in Community Board 9 in terms of there is a need for affordable housing, but there also has to be a balance as to how that happens. And for me, attending the meetings gives me an opportunity to hear the voices and to formulate an opinion in terms of how we are going to collectively move forward. So I recognize that there have been a lot of challenges. We have new leadership, but I believe in my heart, and I can only speak from what's in my heart, I believe that the individuals that are assembled here, I believe that everybody really has the best interests of community at heart, but it's how we go about getting there has been the challenge. So I'm going to continue to remain committed to this. In my heart, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, born and raised in East Flatbush, across the street from downstate, where I've lived my entire life. This is something that's very important to me, because I want to make sure that our communities move forward in an equitable way. And quite frankly, as a council member at this time, to read those articles that come out so frequently about the fact that Brooklyn is the most expensive place to live in the United States really shows that we have to be united and on the same page, because I'm doing my best with a staff of 6 in order to have challenges, whether it's Brooklyn Jewish Hospital with the Alma situation, or Schenectady Avenue with their landlord situation, moving all around the district with all of the information with Ebbets Field and Tivoli Towers and the downsizing and the downsizing that's happening in our NYCHA developments. I'm on your side, and the other elected officials that are representing you are on your side. And it becomes very difficult when we're fighting on your behalf, you're fighting against us, and we're fighting against multi-million-dollar developers who have an array of legal teams that would fascinate you and blow your mind. Yes. So I want to make sure that our new leadership is new leadership. We have new individuals on the board. We have to give this a chance. We have to give this a chance, because if we don't give this a chance, I really don't know, as a new member, what the future of this community will be if this continues. But I know if this continues, we will not move forward effectively. So I'm committed to this. I want to work with the community. I want to bring everybody together. And I want everybody to have a voice. So I'm committed to making sure that you have a voice, that you have a voice, that you have a voice. But we have to be respectful of one another. We have to be respectful of each other's time, of each other's opinions, of each other's differences of opinions. Because just today, with this shooting that took place, we have representatives that on one end will say, you know, that the police did an awesome job. They did the right thing. And then we have another community that will say, why did that interaction with an African-American man have to lead to a death? And as a local city council member, and we have a police department that will understand that the decisions that they made, they believe were the right decisions that were made. We have all of these different opinions, and I have to hear all of these different opinions. I have to represent all of these different opinions, and I have to give all of them equal measure and equal voice in the conversation to formulate how I function as a leader. So I'm open to all of these opinions, but at the same time, we have to be respectful of these opinions, because the dynamics in our district are very diverse and very different, and it's not always going to be perfect, and more often than not, it will not be perfect. So I thank you all for your time. I thank you all for coming back meeting after meeting, although they have been challenging, because that's really an example of your time and commitment to this community. So I thank the board, I thank the executive board, I thank all of you who have come here. I thank everyone that's bringing their opinion, because all of these diverse opinions together are going to yield the best possible result. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Trumbo. Next, we'll do the chair's report. Warren's event was a great success. Warren, do you have enough volunteers for this weekend?
No, we need about 10 more. 10 more.
You need 10 more volunteers, and you need 2 Santas too, right?
I think we got a Santa.
A Santa, you need 2 Santas, one for Saturday, one for Sunday?
Yeah, I could use another one.
Do we have anybody here who's interested in being Santa this weekend? No, I see, guess not. Warren, you probably should let them know how to contact you, or even see Warren after the meeting. We have somebody being volunteered?
How about you?
Okay, I'm probably gonna have to do it. At least on Saturday. Okay, Beverly Newsom, I don't want to put Beverly on the spot, but I'd like Beverly to come up and talk about the petition that she's been doing for the Associated on Ocean Avenue. If she'd take a couple of minutes out to talk about that. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. If you don't want to feel it, talk about that.
Hello, everybody. As you know, my name is Beverly Newsom. I'm the president of Evansville Tenants Organization, in addition to being a member of the Community Board 9. A couple months, a month and a half ago, we had heard a rumor that Western Beef and Associated was being sold. That, as all of you know, would put our community, as far as grocery shopping and other things, in a serious situation, given how densely populated we are. So we asked the assemblymen to approach these 2 individuals to see if there was anything that the community could do to put this off or just cancel it out altogether. So the assemblymen spoke to the powers involved, and we discovered that Western Beef is not being sold. They're looking to possibly upgrade the space, renovate the space. They're definitely going to renovate the store without it being closed. Associated, on the other hand, they, at the time that we had the conversation, they only had 2 years remaining on their lease. But during the interim, we've had a couple conversations with them. So now they have 5 years on their lease. What has occurred is that their property has a new owner. And their new owner is looking, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the building that's directly across the street from Associated. This is Associated on Sullivan and Nostrand. Right. So their new owner is looking to build as that building is. Now, one thing that I learned in my meeting with Associated last week is that when you walk past that building, it looks like it's full, but it's not, which is a major plus. So the commercial space on the bottom, just to give you an idea of what our community is facing, the cost of a commercial space is $30,000 per month. Yes. So for those, I'm sorry? The building that's directly across the street in front of Associated. Right, Sullivan and Nostrand. So when the council member talks about all of us being on the same page as far as one, being aware of the kind of development that's going on in our community, we need to be aware. Every flyer that's being passed out, we need to take it. Everything we see posted on a pole, we need to read it. Because for commercial space to be $30,000 a month, even speaking to Associated, they were approached in regards to renting that space, and they said that is far beyond their price point. Because understand that once you have a store that has that kind of rent per month, that product has to be able to cover the overhead and walk away with a profit. So we have to be, we cannot be delusional, and we do have to work together, like the council member said. So we put together a campaign, and we are going to, in addition to collecting signatures, we're going to be flyering the community, making the community even more aware, because a lot of members of our community were not even aware that Associated was at risk of losing their lease. So that's another thing. So as we look around we look at Evansville and go, oh no, they're going to stay there. No, Evansville is private property, and many of its apartments are being converted to market value. So it's one of the largest properties in the community, and for that to be happening, that means a large number of people are going to be displaced. And people are using the term relocated. Relocation means that there's someone coming in, putting you someplace else. This is not what's happening. So I was called up here to talk about the Associated Western View. That's I've given you the synopsis of that. Does anyone have any questions in regards to that? No? Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper. That's just a good example of the positive things that could be done in our community instead of all the things back and forth. If we work together, we can do so much together. Thank you very much, Ms. Newsom, for doing that. Pearl has a quick announcement about the Christmas party.
I just wanted to let the board members know that I sent the email just about 4 o'clock this afternoon, and everything is confirmed with Bluebird, and I sent you guys the whole menu with appetizers, the dinner part, dessert, and red and white wine. That's the price fixed menu that we have. And so anyone wants to let me have the funds that are for each per person tonight, that's fine, or anytime during this week up until Monday morning. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pearl. The BP's office is, the Borough President's office is showcasing the manuscripts of St. Francis of Assisi, which is the first time in over 700 years these documents have been outside the country of Italy. The showing will continue until January 14, 2015. Reservations are suggested. Reservations can be made by calling 718-802-3900. For groups of 10 or more, please call 718-802-4042 or email sevents@brooklynbp.nyc.gov. We have a board member who was appointed back in June named McCalla Mitchell. The executive committee took a vote. This person has not attended any board meetings, not attended any committee meetings, does not answer phone calls, letters, or emails. So the executive committee took a vote. We recommend the removal. So we'd like to make sure we get that in tonight too. We're seeking information we made a request out to board members about GIS software to do some of the mapping projects. We had 2 volunteers, we still need more. We have Carmen Martinez and Beverly Newsom, both volunteers, they'll help us out with that. Right now, we have emails that have been sent out to DDC and New York City Planning on what software that they use. Our discussion session will be set up as soon as we can get information from those agencies, as well as we still do need volunteers, but we will come to that. I do now have a new email address, which I'll be using from now on for board business. That email address is dnicholson@cb.nyc.gov. We have to do a roll call vote for removal of Carla Mitchell. So we need to get a motion from the floor. Rabbi Goldstein.
Yep, real quick background. How many times absent, et cetera,
Never attended anything.
Never done anything?
Never attended
Make a
anything.
motion to remove.
Okay. Anybody second, Demetrius? Okay, call the roll.
Fred Baptiste,
Yes.
Simone Bennett,
Yeah.
Warren Burke,
Yes.
Augustine Blackwell, Josette Coucou-Brioche, Ben Edwards,
Yes.
Milton Ellis, Sheila Foster Golding, Rabbi Jacob Goldstein,
Yes.
Rabbi Nachum Gross,
Yes.
Tessa Hackett Vera,
Abstain.
Sylvita Hamilton Gonzalez,
Abstain.
Aaron Hirschkopf,
Yes.
Laura Imperiali, Demetrius Lawrence, Avi Leches, Michael Liburd,
Yes.
Denise Mann,
Yes.
Carmen Martinez,
Yes.
Musa Moore. Musa Moore. Patricia Moses.
Yes.
Beverly Newsom.
Yes.
Frank Nicholas.
Yes.
Dwayne Nicholson.
Yes.
Rosemarie Perry. Yes. Gerald President.
Yes.
Pia Raymond.
Yes.
Unella Roan Perry.
Yes.
Diana Richardson.
Yes.
Mary Rollerson Blackett.
Yes.
Brenda Scott.
Yes.
Kenya Solis.
Yes.
Rabbi Joseph Spielman. Ada Terry.
Yes.
Timothy Thomas.
Yes.
Jacqueline Welch.
Yes.
Evelyn Williams. Stewie Valberg. $35 yes, 2 abstentions, carries. The member is removed.
Member be removed, the letter be sent to Borough President's office. Okay, I think that's all for tonight. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
May I make a motion, please?
Yes, Tim.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. People have been asking me why the rush. I just want to bring to your attention 262, 264 Sullivan Place, 2 houses right next to each other. That's Sullivan between Rogers and Nostrum. They're in the R71 zone, and I have here, I'd be happy to share it with you. These 2 houses are being sold as a development lot, and they can go from being two small houses to basically 1 tower. That's what we're dealing with, folks. Last March, we passed a resolution, and it was my hope at that time that it was a former board that we were moving quickly in the right direction to get rid of R71 areas of the district. Every day I go by 626 Flatbush, and I don't know about you, but I'm amazed that we were able to let this happen on our watch. The resolution in March was not perfect. It will never be perfect. However, it addressed all of the major points that we were concerned about. There were a couple of points on there that I felt, and many people, PPEN, for instance, Prospect Park East Network, which had been working for a year and a half to try to get this community board to move on this issue. They have been in full support of the few changes that I made. I did not make the changes. I did this in consultation with many members. Had we had a committee meeting before today, I would have happily made those changes then. There has been no committee meeting. I'm not sure quite why that is. So now what I'd like to do is to encourage every single person, after I read this motion on the community board, if you have not had a chance to speak to the resolution or to this issue, I know everyone here in this room is smart. I know that you have read the resolution. I know that you know about zoning. I don't believe that we need to put this off a single minute more so that more buildings like this can be bought and turned into large
I'm
developments.
confused. What resolution are you talking about?
I'm about to read the motion. Basically what I've done, for those of you who haven't read it already, is to take the resolution from March and make a couple of slight changes so that it reflects, I think, better the needs of... Actually, speaking about process, I wish that the executive committee had followed process and we'd had a committee meeting. In lieu of that, I'd like to read this motion, as is my right as a community board member. I seem to hear that I'm going to be removed for doing this. But frankly, I'm doing what I think is right, and I think all of you should support me in this. And so, this is the revised resolution that I would ask that you adopt. I move that CB9 accept this revised resolution, and here's how it goes. Whereas Community District 9 is comprised of the distinct neighborhoods of South Crown Heights, northern parts of Flatbush, Prospect Lefferts Gardens, and Wingate, and is bordered by the historic landmarks of Prospect Park and Eastern Parkway. And whereas Community District 9 boasts of prestigious cultural institutions as the Brooklyn Museum, the Brooklyn Botanic Garden, and the Brooklyn Public Library, and such notable medical institutions as Kings County Hospital Center and Everyone Trauma Center, SUNY Health Science Center, Kingsborough Psychiatric Center, and Kingsbrook Jewish Medical Center, and the educational institution Medgar Evers College of the City, University of New York, my mistake. And whereas Community District 9 is a unique blend of people of extraordinarily diverse heritage, and families have thrived in the Community District 9 for generations, living along our tree-lined streets and enjoying the beauty and nuances of the neighborhoods. And whereas the existing zoning designations and prevailing land uses does not provide nor address all the needs of the community. And whereas Community Board 9 held a forum at the Brooklyn Botanic Garden on Monday, March 17, 2014, and in subsequent meetings in the community where residents of the community expressed various concerns, a summary of which is as follows. 1, preserve the existing character of the neighborhood. Prevent or limit out of context, i.e. high-rise development, in all areas of the district. Make provision for incremental expansion of homes in R2 and R4 districts. Number 2, adjust current zoning designations to conform to prevailing uses and densities. Residential zoning designations mapped in Community District 9 often do not match the type of housing that exists currently, or exists. 3, create opportunities for affordable housing development. Make every provision to protect residents from displacement. For example, anti-harassment measures. Number 4, and this is a change from the original resolution back in March, consider the appropriate blocks and lots on which modest increased residential density can be accommodated, provided that adequate restrictions on height are observed. 6 stories or 70 feet should be the maximum throughout the district, and all efforts are made to maximize affordable housing options while staying within these height limits. The 70 feet is the typical height of the 6-story buildings that already exist in our district. Be it therefore resolved that New York City Community Board 9, Brooklyn I'm sorry, I missed number 5. Ensure that the development does not overwhelm existing infrastructure. Address parking shortages in congested areas. Address the need to improve sewer and water capacity. Address the need for adequate schools. Address the need for adequate transportation, both public transit and vehicular traffic. Almost done. Be it therefore resolved that New York City Community Board 9, Brooklyn, calls upon the New York City Department of Planning, City Planning, to immediately begin a study of the district to address the issues raised in the foregoing summary. And be it further resolved that Community Board 9 calls on the Department of City Planning to implement a text change for the institution of special height and setback regulations in R71 areas in Community District 9 pursuant to the Quality Housing Program. And be it further resolved that Community Board 9 stands ready to work with the Department of City Planning to spearhead public hearings to gather additional input from the community as we seek to address the official concerns expressed by this constituency. In other words, folks, this is the beginning of the process. Tonight, we vote for this resolution and we start the process. And there will be many opportunities for every voice in this community to be heard. That is my motion. Do I have a second?
Tim, I wanted to second it with a comment.
First you're seconding.
I'm seconding it.
Okay. And then
I rise, Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair.
now that we've had a second, I believe we can go to discussion.
Mr. Chair, I rise to object to the consideration of the matter. I rise to object to the consideration of the matter. I rise to object.
Without community input. Thank you.
Fred, I need to know what it is that you're objecting to.
As a matter of parliamentary procedure.
Yes.
This motion takes precedence.
All right now.
Okay,
Let me point out.
what is it?
Let me point out.
Make your point.
Good.
I objected to the consideration of this motion as this is already going to committee, so everything you want to do is already going to be done. As such, let's understand, this motion doesn't need a second. This motion is not debatable, so we're not going to discuss it.
Why is that? You don't want to hear from the community?
No, that's because it's Robert's Rules of Order.
No, I've read Robert's rules. There's nothing wrong with my motion.
Yes, sir.
What's wrong with my motion?
Let him have the microphone so he can
Interrupt the speaker? Yes. Second needed? No. Debatable? No. Amendable? No.
Come
Vote
on.
needed? 2/3.
Thank you.
What? For what? For what? What are we looking at?
Object to the consideration of the question. You have a motion on the floor that has been seconded. I made the objection. The Robert's Rules of Order. We go straight to a vote. 2/3 of the members say no. This is not considered. This matter goes directly to.
How is it not majority rule? You're going to have to explain that to me.
You got to talk to General Robert. It's Robert's Rules. That is
So
correct.
any time we can just object to a motion and not have to vote on it for majority.
To be clear, and you know what, this is one of the things we need to work on.
Wait, why don't you take the mic? Thank you. Thank
To
you.
be clear, and I understand, and I want to make sure all the members do understand that. This is what we need to do better going forward.
Yes.
If you vote to sustain this objection, so if you vote yes, 2/3 of you must vote yes, this motion will not be considered even though it's been moved and seconded. What will happen is, the motion that was ratified by this body at the September 23rd meeting will continue. The chairman has already stated that there's going to be a zoning conference meeting about this, and this is going to go directly to the ULUR.
Yes.
So there will be ample discussion. Everything that our colleague has said he wants to happen is already going to happen. There is no reason to belabor this point right now. We need to move as a community board from doing committee work in the full board meeting. We need to give our communities the opportunity.
I believe there's no better place to discuss this motion than right here, right now. So I urge you to vote no. I urge you to vote no so that we can go ahead and move on this motion. Thank you.
Discussion? No, not available.
Okay, let's go over and make the motion, the yes and no. The yes is gonna be to approve the motion.
But wait a minute, wait. We're making.
Please vote no.
We can't.
We're making the same mistake. My co-members, we're making the same mistake we made in September. Being forced to vote on something that We as new members are just learning about it.
4 months later?
No, wait, Tim, please. This was supposed to happen, this is supposed to happen in committee according to what you said.
There's been no committee meeting.
Tim, please.
Why no committee?
Now, this is, you don't deny it. According to Robert's rules, this is supposed to, if this is supposed to happen, we need to. Please, I'm sorry.
All right, so a vote yes is gonna be to, a vote yes to send it to committee, a vote no
That's not
is.
what it is. It's to reject my motion. It's not to send it to committee.
Okay, a yes rejects the motion and a no approves the motion. Okay, is everybody clear? Yes rejects the motion that was just made, no is to approve the motion just made.
Correct.
Everybody clear?
State the motion.
2/3 vote. I would like a no vote so that we may move forward on the resolution.
But you're not gonna get it.
No. 2/3.
Okay, everybody clear? Okay, call the roll.
What count? This will be counting. Counting. This will be done. Start counting. Know how they do.
Okay, quiet folks, we're gonna call the roll. Please be quiet.
So no means yes, yes, no. I don't know.
Okay, let's repeat that again. If you vote yes, you're rejecting the motion that Tim has made. If you vote no, it means you approve the motion that Tim has made.
No. Then we have to go forward and vote on it.
No. What's the conclusion?
Brett, do you want to explain it again?
All right, listen, everyone. I appreciate the time. I understand. I want everyone to be clear. What happened? A motion was put on the floor by Tim. It was seconded, which means there is a motion in front of the body. What I did is part of parliamentary procedure where I objected to the motion. That basically means I say we shouldn't even be talking about this.
Correct.
There's already a motion on the floor that the body's already considered we shouldn't even be talking about this. So, what we're doing is we're discussing my objection. Now, we're not talking about his motion. We're talking about my objection. If you uphold my objection and you say yes, that means we don't even talk about Tim's motion. If we say no, that means Tim's motion is now on the floor to be discussed and voted on or whatever else happens after that. Are we on the same page and clear? So, vote yes means we don't even discuss this motion. Vote no means that Tim's motion is on the floor and will be heard by this body. Yes. Right, the chair, and I'll reiterate. The chair already outlined in his statement before, there is going to be a training session in January, and there is going to be a ULERT meeting to discuss this matter. This will be on the agenda. Is it again? I'm not sure what the schedule is, but there will be a ULERT meeting to discuss it. So this is going to go to ULERT.
When is the meeting going to take place? When is this meeting going to happen? When? Next year?
Okay, listen up. 2 more points. Okay, listen, if I may. If I can answer this. The ULERT meeting has to be scheduled for 1. For 2, the recourse that this body has is that if necessary, we can call a special meeting of this body, which only requires a petition of 1/3 of the members to deal specifically with this matter. All we need is a written petition. So if 13 members say, yes, we want to have a meeting, we can have a special meeting to deal specifically with this matter. But the chair has already outlined what the roadmap is going to be. There's going to be a ULERT meeting scheduled. So it's incumbent upon the board members, if you don't hear anything, you need to say something. But back to the matter at hand, a vote yes means the objection is upheld, and this goes to the committee meeting.
Jake had a quick question?
Have you an idea
let us say, going forward, when a ULURP committee is gonna happen?
Honestly, we have to find a location.
A committee meeting.
Yeah, we're gonna have to vote now.
Mr. Chair, a
Yeah.
ULURP committee meeting can be held in the community board office for board members, nobody else.
Not anymore. We'll talk about that later. Okay, let's call the roll, because it's getting late.
Okay, quiet please. So everybody understands the yes and the no.
I just want to say something.
Yes, means we don't talk about principles.
I don't understand what's going on. When the meeting was held at the Botanical Garden, that place was packed. This came from the community.
What's going on, please?
That resolution came from the community. It came to this board. And what did we do with it? We've been running around in circles since March. The same thing going around and around every time we come to meeting. When is it gonna stop?
Now.
I understand, Ms. Golden, but we have to move forward right now on this particular motion. So please call the roll. It's getting late.
Fred Baptiste,
Yes.
Simone Bennett, Simone Bennett, Warren Burke, Augustine Blackwell,
Yes.
Josette Coucou-Brioche,
Yes.
Ben Edwards,
Yes.
Milton Ellis,
Yes.
Sheila Foster Golding,
Abstain.
Rabbi Jacob Goldstein,
No.
Rabbi Malcolm Gross,
No.
Tessa Hackett Vera,
Abstain. Because I'm not.
Sylvita Hamilton Gonzalez,
Yes, I need clarity.
Aaron Hirschkopf, Laura Imperiali, Demetrius Lawrence, Avi Leches, Michael Liebert,
Yes.
Denise Mann,
Yes.
Carmen Martinez,
Yes.
Musa Moore, Patricia Moses,
Yes.
Beverly Newsom, Frank Nicholas,
Yes.
Dwayne Nicholson,
Yes.
Rosemarie Perry, yes. Gerald President,
Yes.
Pia Raymond, Unella Roan Perry,
Yes.
Diana Richardson,
Yes.
Mary Rollison Blackett,
Yes.
Brenda Scott,
Yes.
Kenya Solis,
Abstain.
Rabbi Joseph Spielman, Ada Terry,
Yes.
Timothy Thomas,
No.
Jacqueline Welch, Evelyn Williams, Stewie Balberg,
Another win for MTOP.
Folks, hold still. 25 yes, 8 no's, 4 abstentions. Motion passed. Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Second? Good night, everybody. Happy holidays. Be careful, be safe.